Hey folks, Beauchamp here, and I've got an important message to share with you. It's my 100% service connected, disabled vet, queer, American, queer patriot, Pink Panthers Manifesto. You ready to go? I keep getting requests to send money to President Biden. My son is in the military and the Air Force stationed up in Cheyenne, Wyoming. He served in Africa fighting Al Shabaab. He gave it all there, blood, sweat, and tears, and all he asked was all I asked when I was his age. He asked for a commander in chief that wouldn't call him a sucker or loser and one that had his back. So, yes, there is a contrast between Trump and Biden. That said, from both having inexcusable classified breaches to both being incompetent, mentally ill, Biden has dementia, and Trump is a malignant narcissist with other flavors of personality defects, making him a willfully ignorant sociopath or psychopath. Not a psychologist, but I guarantee you he's got some of that crap going on. Let me tell you. So I've spent, let's see, I can say these things because I'm a 100% service-connected military veteran. I've spent the last 4 years calling my congressional representatives to see if our government was as responsive as it was when I was a kid working in D.C. back in 1999 and 2000, and for a few years after that. I have quite the history from testifying before the House Judiciary Committee via my ex-partner's expert testimony at the time, Tony Orr. Tony is an important voice in our community, in our movement. Our experience helped get the James Byrd, Matthew Shepard hate crimes laws passed. I had PTSD so bad from my childhood, my military, and then being gay bashed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, while trying to withdraw money from an ATM across from a gay bar. I received 20 death threats from the same neo-Nazis who desecrated Jewish graves in Tulsa. It was a separate incident where I'd been targeted for having a United Methodist for lesbian and gay concerns Thanksgiving celebration flyer with my name on it. Yeah, that was smart. Anyway, it was back in the early 2000s. I've been in the fight a very long time. From Naval Nuclear Engineering School, which it was a miracle I passed, as I'm more a writer than mathematician. But I got to be able to do some math, and I guarantee you, Trump, just because you have an uncle that can do math, doesn't make you a mathematician. So anyway, I could say more, but I'm going to keep it clean. Then submarines in the North Atlantic joining with Ukrainian dissidents to bring down the wall, the Cold War, the curtain of the Soviet Union's extremist way of socialism. Neither extremist capitalism or socialism does anything but kill those outside the ivory towers our so-called leaders build for themselves. I've done much more and lived many lives only to bring the light of love back. Yes, I struggle with nonviolent civil disobedience, and my mental illness rears its ugly head every now and then. But I always take accountability for my actions, whether sane or not at the time. I believe in accountability. My son was not given leave while in the service, even though he desperately needed it. Again, he's got like 3 months of leave accrued, and he needed every day of that. My son was not given leave while in the service. Again, I called my congressman over and over and told them the military was suffering because of that asshole, Tommy Tupperville, blocking military advancements and promotions. I mean criminals. They're all a bunch of criminals up there if they're associated with that Supreme Court decision, and they're for it. They're right along with Tommy Tuberville. And Tommy Tuberville, you're a criminal. That's all there is to it. You know you are. So anyway, that meant my kid with the drinking problem from overwork had to work harder. Now, I know this is long, but bear with me. I called and warned that Tuberville didn't even know what IVF was, in vitro fertilization. He had no idea. And why wouldn't Biden communicate to the American people about what Tuberville was doing? Nothing. Silence. Biden communicated to the Biden has the bully pulpit, but it seems his staff and family who are desperate to stay in the White House nixed it. He hasn't used the Oval Office for the existential threats we were facing. Silence. My mental illness got worse and worse because my son's very life was in danger from a senator, Tuberville, and all your buddies. My mental illness got worse and worse. I told him Tuberville was trying to weaken our military from the top down so that when Trump won, they could easily conduct a coup. I also told my congressional reps that January 6th wasn't Roger Stone's first rodeo. I was part of the Count the Votes in Florida protest on Capitol Hill, organized by friend Bob Furtick, owner of the Democrats.com. And that was the first January 6th, but you didn't hear about it because we protested peacefully, like good Americans do. So anyway, this is in 2001, January 6th. About the same time I purchased boomersooner.com, I got crazier and crazier and finally called, that was back in the protest, but flash forward, about the same time, I got crazier and crazier and finally told you I was insane, and finally called every Republican on the Senate Armed Services Committee, and I'm too embarrassed now to tell you the threats I made because, you know. Okay, shh. Okay, in the stigma of mental illness. Then I called Tammy Baldwin. Go ahead and vote for her and send her money. She's good. Because I know her from the testifying before Congress that Tony Orr did. And I was sitting behind him. If you go to the C-SPAN article or C-SPAN link in the book, you'll see me sitting behind him. Bald head, 20 years earlier, less wrinkles. Anyway, I'm not afraid of anything. Wait. Okay. Called Tammy Baldwin, and then I had also developed a huge drinking problem, so I was a complete mess at all the cocktail parties in D.C., which I determined was from all the unresolved trauma from abuse I experienced. Yes, I was an inpatient in many psych wards and was a mentally ill, drug-addicted prostitute on the streets of Washington, D.C. I'm not afraid of anything. I'm not afraid of anything, in other words. Well, maybe the grief of losing my son, but I have faith we will meet again in paradise through the grace of my risen Master, Yeshua of Joseph, the Christ. Praise be his name. Or who most of y'all know as Jesus Christ. I have kissed his tomb in Jerusalem, and it was another chrysalis moment for me where I went in the tomb as a worm and left a butterfly. Okay, back to my story. After my calls, I was reported to the FBI. Hell, when they came knocking, I knew it was them because I'm also clairvoyant. Ask my family. I'm a Cassandra. You can read all about it in my book. Guess what? I wrote that book 2 years ago, and there's a lot. Most of what is happening right now is what I wrote 2 years ago. So guess what? I'm wealthy now in the things that matter, and the money made will be used to build an academy for secondary school for Nicaraguans. I got to pay off my credit cards first, but yeah. The rest will go to Worthy Ministries via boomersooner.com. My alma mater until I had to join the Navy, from my late father claiming me on his taxes. Not a dime from him as usual, totally cut off. And I paid off the underwear, clothes, and food he and my stepmother had to buy when I was living with them. Yes, they made me feel guilty about it. Resentment after resentment that only the love of God can cure. And I keep giving it to him and taking it back. I receive a little less back each time. One day I will be free of it. And when you are free in Christ, you are free indeed. Okay, yes, I was a preacher on the submarine. I served on a submarine in the North Atlantic as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. So there's a bunch of served more than me too. Hats off to them. I receive a little less back each time I try to give my issues like resentments to God. One day I will be free of it, and when you are free in Christ, you are free indeed. And yes, I read that again. Yes, I was a preacher on the submarine in the North Atlantic. I was unwilling because I was terrified of being found out by Senator Sam Nunn, Democrat. I did it anyway after no other Christian would do it. I had the crew praising God from the depths of the ocean. After God came to me in a dream and asked for me, I knew it was God's light from inside the cave I was in, so I responded, "Here I am. Here I am." It just fell out of my mouth. Holy hell! Well, wait. Well, I gave my word in the songs that I had them sing to Yeshua and God were transferred via vibration to the Moriscos, and they sang their canticles, and God heard. God was pleased with me, this lowly caterpillar of a queer boy from Oklahoma, springing from Paris, Texas, on the back of generational sin of slavery as slave masters. My family, I traced them back. They were slave masters. So anyway, the price I pay is nothing compared to a queer black slave. Or slave period, because I'm not enslaved and I have white privilege. So the price I still pay is less than the queer, lesbian, transgender, Ethiopian Jew in the queer community. Back to our boy. Yeah, he actually told my husband, Dad, and me, Pops, and Connie, or Mom, depending how much smartass he had in him during high school. He said something like, Dad, Pops, Connie, I'm just going to say it this once. Y'all are the birdcage. I was like, oh my God. I burst into tears like Nathan Lane's character. Please don't call DHS. Parker, no, Pops, it's good. It's really good. Y'all have given me the world. So then I cried harder. I sobbed, am I Robin Williams? Parker, yeah, right. So that was his childhood, and I'm damn glad I was his father. I taught him how to pray. I taught him to be a sheepdog to protect the weak because my kid was everything I wanted to be in high school. He was beautiful, straight, and popular. That said, he got in a lot of fights because he would say, Pops, you told me I was a sheepdog. Got to fight the wolves to protect that queer kid in my class. All I could say was, good boy, good boy. When he walked off his job because I told him not to, I stupidly advised him to join the military. That said, I'm still glad I did because he was always an airman, always destined for the Air Force like I was destined for the Navy and submarines. That said, I'm still glad. No, I just read that. From space camp to Boy Scouts to the Air Force, it made sense. Knock, 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 FBI. Me, holy shit. What do I do now? My mind flashes back to getting manhandled by police in Dallas, Texas, after having a mental health meltdown. They came in my condo, took one look at Charlie's old frame photo, he wasn't there at the time, of our family, sans me. Just a hetero couple with 2 kids before I would have been in the very same pic, a photo of them that they looked at and then looked at me and they said, "Sir, you are in the wrong condo." And then it began. Fortunately, I'm not the black mentally ill brother who died the month after because I'm white. My husband and son are black. Well, they found out they were descended from the handmaid in South Carolina whose children were stolen if they were white enough. So I guess they're descended from black people, but I'm going to answer for the black community. Master and mistress couldn't have babies, so they used her. They used his ancestor to have babies. Handmaid's tale. Back in the antebellum South. Funny, that's exactly what MAGA wants back. I guarantee you, okay? Don't tell me they don't. I might be crazy, but I read Handmaid's Tale and watched the series. Also, if you've caught any mistakes, then that's too bad, and you're just going to have it 16 minutes in. I know this is long, and I've never done one this long, but there's a lot to say here that America needs to hear right now. Okay, if you caught any mistakes, then that's too bad. This is being typed up live. Now it's being read live. Pouring out of me like my poetry. And it's on Facebook too. I typed it all up this morning. It took me no time at all because most of it was channeled. Anyway, I knew it was the FBI before I opened the door. I had to go through the whole spiel. I told them I was mentally ill, probably didn't mean half the things that I couldn't remember. I have this really nasty, hateful personality alter or side that comes out when I feel like someone I love is threatened, like my kid. Mostly really passive aggressive, but you don't want to be on her bad side. I mean his, just kidding. See, I can do that because I'm mentally ill. Had to tell them I had cracked under no action from senators over the military blockade, Tupperville's military blockade, and that I backed the blue, and my sister and husband were Pentagon Capitol Police and still are police, and I would die for them if some right-wing Nazi threatened them from MAGA because they had to arrest them because they attacked our Capitol. Our cathedral of democracy, and that's for the whole United States, not just a state that had some kind of riot or whatever. And the southern states, if they want states' rights, need to stop bitching about state problems in other parts of the country. And looks like we probably might, who knows? I'm not even going to say it, but democracy's over unless we do something. So anyway, on, and how my son had been betrayed by Senator Tupperville, and I was a member of Vote Vets, and I did a commercial for them, and my dad was a Major League Baseball player, and I was known as Beach, and took on Beach Jr. as the nickname because I'd resolved my hatred of him. And what did you ask again? Needless to say, they didn't arrest me, but if they had, then in my temporary sanity right now, I would have been proud to go to prison. Remember, I would kill for or die for that kid. Queer family values. Us male penguins who pair up will knock out a bitch messing with our damn chick. Because it's hard enough being queer to add stealing another couple's egg and hatching then raising it. We'll cut a bitch. We're honey badgers. We're queer honey badgers, and we don't fucking give a shit. If we have kids, you better watch out. I got a little crew of previous queer veterans, and some of them have kids too, so look out for us. At least 2. And we're going to form a little group called Pink Panthers and or QueerPatriots. And we will show what it is to defend freedom by God. We will suit up and show up for any minority being attacked from any extremist, from both extremist left or right, either one of them, because both extreme sides are the ones threatening the world right now, and they're being run by dictators in all but name only, and people that have stolen all of our wealth and dollars just represent energy. And that is our energy and work, and they need to learn how to exhale before they pull that same stunt I'm just going to leave it there for now. Go to Facebook, read my Facebook, print that sucker out, because I wouldn't go so far as to not believe that these idiots right now that are controlling everything, these angry white men, and most of them aren't Christian. They're just abusing Christians right now by getting them to hate and divide us. Because I'm a Christian. I'm willing to embrace anybody that will adhere to the principles of democracy, and then also be moderate enough not to start taking away everyone's rights. And this is totally unsustainable, what's been happening in the past years. And I'm never going to forget the fact that I was there in D.C. fighting for the Gore campaign when we all went south. We went off course during Sandra Day O'Connor even wrote an article saying that was her greatest regret, to get involved 5-4 in the Supreme Court. Hell yes, it was. They got involved 5-4 and handed the presidency to W. Bush. And then all he did is have to claim Saddam Hussein caused 9/11 and then cause a war, and then tell everyone we couldn't switch horses in the middle of the stream. And 20 years later, every bad thing that's happened came from that neocon group that absorbed the Tea Party, and both of them became MAGA. And don't think a lot of us can't see that. But I tell you what, if we all don't do something, I want you all to read Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny. And I want you all to start, I'll be out in the street with you, trust me. Anybody that can, we need to start. We can't have a Supreme Court doing this. We cannot have presidents that can't keep confidential information safe. I don't care if it's confidential at all. I don't care what it is. I don't care if they're using it to write a book. I don't care if they're using it. I do care. It is a spectrum. Now, Donald Trump deserves Guantanamo, and President Biden deserves to be an advisor to the new president after proving he can't keep classified information safe, plus all of his political baggage. How can the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, how can he claim Clarence Thomas was a mistake when he sherped him through Congress and trashed one of my friend's sisters, Anita Hill from Tulsa, Oklahoma? I was friends with her brother back during when I worked for the Obama campaign. First campaign was, just so you know, I love Claire McCaskill. First campaign I ever did was knocking doors in Joplin, Missouri, because this boy living across the border knew even back then that Oklahoma was done. Because I guarantee you, my county, where I grew up as a little queer boy, is probably one of the reddest counties in the United States. So that's why I was there, to learn how to be a fly on the wall and know what they stand for, and to be able to talk to them and be able to know that a lot of them that are off course, they're off course because they've been taught to fear and hate other Americans. Because Christ's message has been perverted in some of these churches, because Jesus Christ, the one I know, and God knows, without his grace, I'd be going to hell. Anybody would, because, every single one of us makes mistakes. So I believe in grace, and I've made plenty of mistakes, but that kid, there's a lot here, but I want to say finally, we all we have to do is ask for Christ consciousness. Knock on the door, and it will be answered unto you. Okay? So that means to start trying to watch movies about Christ's words instead of, just letting a bunch of Pharisees, modern day Pharisees, tell you what to believe. And it's just like a movie. You'll get whatever you need out of it. You will get what speaks to your heart, and you will wrestle with it, and you will try to, determine what your soul needs to do with fear and trembling, knowing that, that without Christ consciousness, I don't know that you're doomed, but you certainly aren't living. Sorry. If that's all you do is count your money, I feel sorry for you. I really do. I feel sorry for all these people out there that worship mammon right now and then claim to love Christ, because that's an absolute perversion, even going back to Moses, for God's sakes. If you saw the 10 Commandments, you're literally worshiping a gold trump. And he's got a wand in his hand with stars and stuff. What the hell? And y'all claim that you're so against psychic people because it's witchcraft, and you're sitting there worshiping criminals and worshiping mammon because you agree with his hatred and the fear that you won't get enough, because you've probably had, you've had white privilege, a lot of y'all. And a lot of people are just brainwashed. And I want my family back, damn it. I got a family that was brainwashed, and I want them back. Damn Fox News and Rupert Murdoch and Elon Musk and all the corporate multinational immigrant oligarchs that I call municos. Load that word up with every negative thing, every negative thought you had, and tag every single one of them with the word munico. Like they tag us and load up words that once meant good things and now mean trash. And that's how you fight with language, So we had better get together. We had better come together as a species, and we had better learn a new way of doing things. And hopefully this is done peacefully. And I guarantee you, I'm for nonviolent civil disobedience, and I may falter from that, but I'll be standing up with the rest of the minorities. And if you want to come for me and kill me, 10 more will rise up right behind me. And all I know is my soul will go to God. And maybe I've given my child, my kid, my grandkid, and all his descendants a chance to live like we have. So, I believe in democracy. I believe in America. But we sure as hell need some reform right now, because we have lost our democracy. This weekend and yesterday, all that's left for y'all is to going through the stages of grief like I did in the psych ward. When I got put in the psych ward after Trump won, because I had visions of the Capitol burning down. Clairvoyance. It's hard to be a Cassandra. And this is going on 30 minutes right now. And, I want everyone to take a moment right now and pray for the peace of our world, and for us people of good heart and soul to rise up against terrorism and to also rise up against these tin pot dictators right now that are killing people all over this world. We cannot sustain this, and our earth will not allow it. So we better change now. We could have started this 20 years ago. So this is just consequences we're facing right now. And it's our fault. It's my generation's fault. I blame myself because I've always said that if I don't do enough to keep my fellow citizens from electing someone like Donald Trump, then I failed. I didn't knock enough doors. I was engaged, and I probably did more than most people, but I should have dug in harder. I should have knocked one more door. I should have made sure that my elected representatives knew that that's the very fact of the matter is we got to get money out of politics, because no matter what they know, I know, that we can't do that. We can allow, if money is energy, which it is, it's a transference of energy, we cannot be allowing that energy in politics. No. We've all got to have equal say, and money is not speech. And corporations aren't people. They're made up of people, and they're made up of people that have lots of energy or money. So, and then lots of them that have empty souls that think all they can do is use that money to control everyone else, because they're damaged in their souls. They have not allowed Christ consciousness in. They are damaged. We need to love them just like we love ourselves, but we cannot allow them to kill all of us. We can't. We're at the third epic. And the third epic means that we move beyond the tribalism of the past. We understand each other's humanity. We understand that we are souls living in this avatar body, and that life is temporary. And, we aren't promised tomorrow. And I've seen that with all my friends that passed away from AIDS. And I feel like I'm the man that survived the plague, because I am. I've written a poem about it. And so that's all I have for now. I have a whole lot to say. And I will share it as much as I can. And I will also stand behind any one of you, or I'll stand in front of you and protect you from the evil that has invaded us. And like I said, if they kill me, if they blow my head off, then 10 more will rise up behind me. And I'm willing to make that sacrifice. And I have a team of angels behind me too. So when they're ready to let me go, I'm going. Life is hard, but I care about my kid. And I care about our species. And I want to see us survive. I don't want to be reincarnating into any highly evolved cockroach. Okay, that's it. Mama always said, crazy is as crazy does. Love y'all.